Am I overreacting for calling off my engagement after my fiancé admitted his family secretly tested me to see if I was a gold digger? Original post. I, 24 female, have been with my fiancé, 27 male, for almost 4 years. He has a really well-paying job in tech, and I make pretty average money. We've always split things fairly, and I've never asked him for expensive stuff, trips, or anything. I honestly thought money was a non-issue for us. I was never interested in him for his money anyway. We genuinely clicked so well, and I loved his personality. We're into the same nerdy things, and his family seemed to really like me. I never thought I would have to worry about our relationship going south, until now. A few days ago, my fiancé sat me down and said he had something he wanted to tell me. He was smiling like it was good news. He basically told me that his family has been secretly testing me for the last 11 months to make sure I wasn't a gold digger. He said they were worried I only liked him for his income and wanted proof before we got married. The test was that they all made it seem like he was struggling financially and might lose his job. His mom would casually bring up layoffs. His dad talked about how unstable tech is, and slowly it turned into he might actually lose his job and you guys might have to really downsize. At one point, his mom even told me I should be prepared to financially help him if it came to that. I never wanted to bring up the possibility of a layoff to him because I didn't want to stress him out. I wanted to be prepared to support him if needed, so I started budgeting more, saving money, cutting back on random spending, skipping things I wanted, and just generally trying to prepare for the worst. I constantly reassured my fiancé, encouraged him, and told him we'd be fine, that I didn't care about money, that I just wanted us. But this whole thing was fake. His job was never in danger. His income never changed. There were no layoffs. His family literally planned this whole thing together. They kept it going for almost a year. Subtle comments made in passing to manipulate me and test me. Apparently, this all started because his older brother went through a really messy divorce. His brother now pays a ton in child support, and his ex-wife got a lot of money in the divorce. His family fully blames her and thinks she was a gold digger. So now they're super paranoid about any woman who dates one of their sons. The thing is, I've actually met his brother's ex-wife before. She was dropping off the kids at a family night, and she seemed really nice and normal. I never once got gold digger vibes from her, and honestly, it makes me uncomfortable how much they demonize her. My fiancé said his parents finally told him that I passed, and that they felt comfortable with him marrying me now. He said he wanted to tell me because he thought I'd be relieved to know he actually isn't struggling financially, and that it shows how much his family cares about protecting him. Then he told me that, to celebrate, he upgraded our honeymoon to a nice luxury resort in Hawaii. I mentioned this resort when we were initially planning the honeymoon but deemed it too expensive, so we settled for a more modest option. But I feel weird about it. I don't want to be rewarded for being manipulated really well. Like, good job. We tricked you and you were so gullible you believed it. Here's a nicer vacation. I told him I felt manipulated, embarrassed, and honestly humiliated that his whole family was watching my reactions and judging my character behind my back for almost a year. He said I'm looking at it wrong and that I proved I'm not with him for his money and that this should make me feel more secure in our relationship. I wish I could ask my family what they thought, but unfortunately, my mom passed away 2 years ago, and I don't have a relationship with my father. I'm feeling sad and lost because I don't have a reliable second opinion to lean on. His family had become my family. That's what makes this even harder. His family is acting like this is totally normal and that I should be proud of myself. His mom literally said most girls wouldn't have handled that so gracefully. I told him I need space, and I'm seriously considering calling off the engagement, but I honestly don't know what to do. I love him, and this is so out of left field. Now everyone is acting like I'm blowing this out of proportion and being dramatic. Part of me wonders if I am, but another part of me feels like my trust is completely broken. Am I overreacting? I'm not sure if tests like this are normal. I feel weird about it, I don't know. Please help. Edit. A couple of people are asking why I didn't just ask for a prenup. We actually did discuss this before we got engaged, and I told him I would be open to a prenup. I brought this up when he confessed, and he said he wasn't necessarily worried about divorce. The whole thing was about testing my character and making sure I was a morally good person before he married me. It doesn't make much sense to me and feels like his whole family went way out of their way to do some stupid morality test. I've never even given the indication that I'm shallow, so it really hurts. I just think they are suspicious of any outsiders who come into their family. Also, I misspoke when I said the Hawaii resort was all-inclusive. I guess I've used that word interchangeably to describe a really nice resort. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. In their effort to prove that you are a morally decent person, they have proved that they are not. They thought she wasn't good enough for him, but they're not good enough for her. Since they've made it very clear that his entire family, him included, is willing to conspire behind her back to lie to and manipulate her, yeah. You found one massive flaw in his personality, and it's absolutely one I'd consider a deal breaker. Now for the first update. I'm really sorry. I've never posted on Reddit before. I've always just lurked. Never posted. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to give an update. I replied to a comment but didn't know if that was correct. So here is the update here as well. Thank you all for your comments. It means a lot to have so much support and validation. I knew right away, deep down, that this was wrong, but I needed validation, as bad as that sounds. I don't have close family or many friends, so hearing that my feelings are normal makes me feel less alone. This happened a couple of days ago. I'm still staying with my fiancé right now, but things are tense, and I feel anxious pretty much all the time. He knows I'm upset and that I need space, so he hasn't tried to talk about it since. He knows I'm considering calling off the engagement, which is why I think he's been so sensitive around me the last few days. He hasn't been acting like it's a positive thing anymore, and seems pretty remorseful since I told him how much it hurt me. This morning I asked him if he knew about it the whole time, and he told me that his parents started making the comments without his knowledge. After he overheard a comment they made to me while we were at his parents' house, he asked them privately why they said that, and they explained they were testing me. He decided to let them continue just to see what I would do. From past interactions with his parents, I also know he has a hard time standing up to them or disagreeing with them, so it honestly makes sense that he didn't call them out and just started going along with it. They told him that they were offended when I suggested an expensive resort for the honeymoon and made a comment insinuating that his parents would be paying for it. They got it in their heads that I just expected them to shoulder the cost of an expensive resort without question, which isn't true. I happily accepted a more modest option when they suggested it because I don't want to seem pushy or entitled. Plus, typically the groom's family pays for the honeymoon, so I didn't know they were offended by that. Maybe I really did come off as entitled, but that was honestly never my intention. Regardless, I don't think that justifies testing me like this. He wasn't the mastermind, but he never stopped them and didn't see why it was wrong or manipulative until I told him how upset I was. A part of me wonders if he was manipulated by his parents into thinking this was acceptable. I'm torn between calling it off or having a conversation with him and asking him to go to couples counseling and set serious boundaries with his parents. I also see some suggestions recommending that I talk to his brother's ex-wife. I think that's a good idea, but I'm honestly really nervous about it. I don't have her number, but I follow her on Instagram, so I'm considering DMing her and asking to call her. I'm pretty overwhelmed with the attention this post is getting, but I'm super appreciative of everyone's support and love. I think I've realized I have people-pleasing tendencies and a need to keep the peace, but I'm trying to force myself to break out of that. It's all just really scary, and I feel really lonely. My natural inclination is to forgive and forget, so that I can still have a family. I know that's not the best idea. I know change needs to happen. I'm still figuring out where to go from here. I'm sorry this post is so long. I tried to add my update in a new post, but the mods removed it. I don't know why. Plus, typically the groom's family pays for the honeymoon, so I didn't know they were offended by that. Is this a thing in 2026? Has that ever been the case? Regardless, much like bride's family pays for the wedding, it's no longer the case for much of society. I guess you're right. My fiancé and I have been putting aside money to pay for the wedding ourselves. My family isn't in the picture, so we never expected financial help from that end. Maybe it's outdated for me to make that assumption. I now feel embarrassed about that comment. I still don't think it justifies the testing, though. Second update. Well, my fiancé found this post. Honestly, I feel pretty stupid for thinking he wouldn't find it. I didn't expect this post to get as much attention as it did, so thank you all for that. But I was extremely detailed, which was kind of dumb. He saw the post and immediately realized that I wrote it. He came to me yesterday with the post, and I was super afraid he would be angry, but he was actually very understanding. He said reading the comments was super eye-opening to him about just how messed up this situation was. He feels bad that he ever even tried to spin this in a positive light. We had a pretty deep conversation, and he came to realize that he has been manipulated very heavily by his parents and family. When his parents justify something, even if it's bad, his brain immediately tries to justify it too, because differing opinions were not allowed in his household growing up. This whole situation has started a realization for him that he grew up in a manipulative and emotionally abusive household, but was never given space to recognize it because they had an extreme us versus them mentality. So even when an extremely normal and well-intentioned person comes into the family, aka me and his brother's ex, they will do anything they can to invalidate their character because they are uncomfortable with outsiders. I have learned a lot about myself through this situation as well. First of all, I'm emotionally vulnerable and need therapy, badly. My need to belong has caused me to stay in situations that are unhealthy for me just because I'm so desperate for a family. I know that's bad, and I know it will be hard, but I want to change. With that being said, even though my fiancé was very remorseful and apologetic, I told him I want to call off our wedding and take a break from our relationship. We both have issues we need to work on individually before we consider joining in marriage. I want to figure out who I am without someone to lean on, as painful as that may be. And he needs to seriously evaluate his relationship with his family and how they have affected him. I told him that if in the future we find ourselves emotionally healthy and the timing works out, maybe we can be together again. But for right now, that's not the case, so we need to go our separate ways. We still live together, and I don't exactly have anywhere to go, so my fiancé said he will move out and try to find other living arrangements. He will pay his portion of the lease until I find another roommate. Again, thank you all for your comments and support. They mean a lot to me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay my share of the Airbnb after my friend offered to let me stay for free when I said I couldn't afford it? Okay, so there was a big event in the city, which is a decent distance away, about 1.5 hours by train. 8 of us were planning to go. One guy, Dan, suggested we book an Airbnb and split the cost 8 ways, which would basically cost about $70 each. I've honestly been bad at saving my money, and I'm trying to make an effort to spend less. So I told everyone up front, if you guys want to do the Airbnb, go for it. I'll just take the train home after the event. After the event ended, I started saying goodbye to everyone and told them I was heading to the train station. Suddenly, everyone started trying to convince me to stay at the Airbnb. I firmly said no because I'm trying to save money and that I was going home. Then Dan specifically told me, we've already ordered it anyway. Just stay for free, since we're going to pay regardless. I wasn't going to argue with a free place to chill, so I said okay. I ended up sleeping on the floor because there weren't enough beds, but I made a dodgy sleeping bag out of blankets and pillows. A couple of days later, Dan messaged me asking where my $70 was for the night. I was pretty confused because I reminded him that he literally said to stay for free, and that's why I stayed. He said he was just trying to be nice and was still expecting me to pay my share anyway. I then told him straight up that I'm not paying anything. I would have taken the train home if I knew I had to pay, and he knew that, because I said it multiple times before the trip. Now he's calling me a cheap user, saying I'm taking advantage of him, and that if I were a good friend, I'd pay up because it's only fair. I feel like I shouldn't owe him a cent. He made the offer, and if he didn't mean it, he shouldn't have said anything. Also, I slept on the floor, so the Airbnb obviously wasn't meant to include me anyway. I'm not trying to scam anyone. I genuinely planned to go home by train and only stayed because he offered for me to stay for free. He's now acting like I'm an a-hole. Not the a-hole. Dan's just trying to get you to pay his share. Did he bring it up in the group chat? As far as I know, he hasn't made it a public issue, but for certain if he does, I'll make sure to let everyone know. Please screenshot his messages requesting the money. Send them to the whole group so they know he's requesting money from you. I bet they have no idea he's doing it. Tell them you only stayed because they said it would be free. You would have taken the train. In the future, you want to spend time with them all, but you'll take the train back. Add, sorry for the inconvenience or misunderstanding. See where it goes from there. Haha, that's a fantastic idea. I'll take a screenshot now, and if this becomes a proper issue, I'll get others involved. Last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my friend, who I let live rent-free for 8 months, after his room and bathroom became a biohazard, then telling him, no wonder your ex broke up with you, in the heat of the moment? Okay, so for context, I'm 28 and my friend is 24. About 8 months ago, his girlfriend broke up with him. They were together for 5 years, so it hit him pretty badly. Anyway, I live in a small 2-bedroom apartment, so after thinking it over for a bit, I offered to let him stay with me rent-free. He still had to pay for his own food, utilities, and anything else he wanted. At first it was fine. He didn't leave his room and mainly kept to himself, as expected. But 6 months down the line, honestly, his room and ensuite are freaking disgusting. His room smells so bad you can faintly smell it from the kitchen. I just checked his room, and he has piles of Uber Eats bags and a literal pile of garbage bags in one corner. Don't get me started on his ensuite. His bathroom is ruined. Black mold is growing in the shower corners, on the shower head, and around the window. There's hair everywhere, toothpaste splattered on the mirror. The toilet isn't flushed sometimes, and wet towels are left on the floor until they stink. I've slowly started telling him more and more that he has to clean it up and sort himself out as it gets filthier. Until yesterday, when he told me I have to stop nagging him like his girlfriend used to. That comment got the best of me, I'm not going to lie. I immediately got so frustrated and kicked him out, while screaming at him about how filthy the place is. When I threw him out, I screamed, no wonder your girlfriend broke up with you if you live like this. Honestly, I'm not proud of what I said, but I refuse to enable this sort of lifestyle, especially since it affects my quality of life now. I'm happy to let him keep staying here, but I've told him he needs to order a cleaner to clean his place up, or I'm throwing his stuff out by the end of the month. As he was leaving, he told me I'm a terrible friend and that I should have more empathy. While I do get that he is struggling, it's been 8 months, and I feel like he's starting to take advantage of me. Not the a-hole. He needs to get his act together and be more grateful. I don't see how you could be a better friend. You are even giving him another chance. That's all on him. He needs to at least respect the fact that this is not his place, especially when he is not even paying rent. If I lived with a friend rent-free, I'd try to be as respectful as possible. I couldn't even imagine leaving it in such a crap hole. Not the a-hole. I'd sue him for damages. You ain't being mean enough. That's why I've told him he has to get a cleaner. And if he can't, I'm going to be honest. I don't really want to interact with him anymore. I don't even know this dude, and I don't want to interact with his dirty butt. I don't blame you, bro.